That's it, I've had enough with Evernote. After switching from Google Keep, I really thought that I had found my forever note-taking app. I tried the free version, loved it, and immediately paid for the yearly plan. But after spending a lot of time uploading and organising all of my notes, I would stumble upon flaw after flaw after flaw. Now in this video, I'm going to explain why I was initially drawn to Evernote, my frustrations with the app, and lastly, the simple yet superb note-taking software I am now using, which I should have been using from the very start. First of all, let me explain why I use a note-taking app in the first place. While I imagine most people use it extensively for work or business-related matters, to collaborate and share notes with colleagues, create checklists, jot down notes, and various other things, I use a note-taking app for saving images of stock charts. That's all. I'm a swing trader who trades stocks, often with thousands of dollars at risk, and analysing stock charts is crucial for improving muscle memory. I don't need a ton of features and I don't need to access it every day. However, whenever I do need to access my notes, whether I'm at home or travelling, I need speed, reliability, and organisation. Now in the beginning, I started off with something really simple, Google Keep. When I first started saving stock charts back in 2021, I solely used Google Keep. This simple note-taking app is simply brilliant. It's easy to use, open files really fast, and it's free for anyone with a Google account. I probably used it for around a year before I realised that I needed something a little bit more elaborate. As amazing as Google Keep was, it was just too basic. Firstly, I wasn't able to access my notes offline. This is essential for me since I travel overseas a few times a year and want to be able to go through my notes when I'm on a plane or somewhere without internet. The organising aspect of it was also very limited. Instead of folders, Google Keep uses labels where it would essentially just act as a top level folder, which means you can't have subfolders. I could assign one or more labels to notes of my trading charts, but there was no way to group them according to the year that the trade took place. Technically, I could have just created a new label for each year, but since there's no way to place a label within a label like you would folders, there would just be a never-ending list of labels. Well, it wouldn't be never-ending because you can only have up to 50 labels. Some users suggested using their tag system to organise notes, but I don't find it productive having hundreds of different tags where I'd have to search for them in order to have them all appear in one place. It's much easier to just be able to have them all in one folder. Maybe I'm just getting old and unwilling to change old habits, but to me, folders are just easier. I was hoping Google would add new features that would improve the organisation aspect, but I couldn't wait any longer, so I had to find an alternative. When I was looking around, the three apps that were mentioned the most were Notion, Obsidian, and Evernote. I researched all three before I decided to go with Evernote because I like the layout, it could be used offline, and one of my trading idols, Maggie, also uses it. So I guess I was a little bit biased in that sense. So to get a taste of the platform, I signed up to Evernote's free trial, where you can create up to 50 notes, have one notebook and use it on only one device. I had a couple of gripes with the app, most notably its slow responsiveness, but overall I liked how easy it was to set up and I got used to it pretty quickly. So I just went ahead and purchased their personal plan. I even paid for the full year because I thought it was a keeper. I would upload all of my notes and organise them on my laptop, and then everything would automatically get synced to my tablet, where I would occasionally access them from home, but mainly when I'm travelling overseas. The layout was clean and it was easy to navigate. Uploading and organising notes into folders was straightforward, and it was easy to add tags to any of my notes and then filter through them after. But for just over a year that I was using Evernote, I became increasingly annoyed with certain things about the app. As I mentioned before, I only perform basic tasks with Evernote, so I can't really comment on their calendar, audio, sketches and other features. However, even the basics were proving to be much too difficult, so I can only imagine how other more demanding tasks would be. Let me explain the problems I had when using Evernote on my tablet, which is a Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. Not the highest spec tablet, but capable enough. So one of the main attractions of Evernote is being able to access your notes offline. This is perfect for me because I like to study my charts on long haul flights or whenever I'm somewhere with poor internet connection. When I finished uploading my notes from my laptop, I would open Evernote on my tablet, wait for everything to sync, and then enable them for offline use. However, not only would the syncing take ages, but it would be massively unreliable. Essentially, I would have to go through every single note to make sure the note would load properly. Then when that was all done, I would go offline and double check that my notes were loading in offline mode. Sometimes not all of the notes would appear, so I have to go back online and reload the notes that weren't loading. I'd repeat this process every time I had new notes, and each time I was due to travel anywhere, I always made sure that my notes were ready for offline use. Then when I'd be on the plane, I'd whip out the tablet, open up Evernote, only to discover that more than half of my notes would not load. I was baffled. I was sure that it was working before I had left. In any case, I just have to make do with whatever notes I had. But other times when I'd use it in offline mode, most of my notes would load and only a few wouldn't. It would be completely random and not something I could rely on. But this wasn't even my biggest frustration. My biggest gripe was that the app was painstakingly slow. It would sometimes take up to 30 seconds to load up on my tablet. That's fine, I can deal with that, but what I couldn't deal with was the slow loading of each note I tried to access. There would only just be a couple of images on each note, so nothing crazy, and I always made sure to resize my images and save them as JPEG files to make them as small as possible. Each image was no bigger than 200 kilobytes, so I didn't understand why it was so laggy. I think I probably looked at the green loading icon more than my actual notes. The very few times I actually tried to sketch something on my images, it would prove to be too tedious. So I gave up on that and resigned myself to just looking but no touching. I put up with these problems for just over a year, and the final nail in the coffin was during my latest trip to Tenerife, where I ran into these problems yet again. Enough was enough, and I finally decided to search for another note-taking app. During my search, I saw the same names pop up again: Notion, Obsidian, Joplin, OneNote, and I decided to go with the last option, Microsoft OneNote, because you could use it offline, it was free, and I already had played around with it before using Evernote. But back then, I just didn't like the way it was set up. But in all honesty, I think I was just being a little bit picky. This time, I wanted to really give it a chance, just in case my first impressions were wrong. So I downloaded the desktop app, set up an account, and got straight to uploading my notes. The first thing I would notice was just how much faster it was compared to Evernote. Everything from launching the app, uploading notes, and flicking through them were a breeze. The offline mode also worked perfectly. All of my notes loaded as expected. And I've used OneNote on all of my devices, laptop, tablet, and even my mobile phone. And I'm surprised at just how efficient the app is. There's very little noticeable lag. Sure, the layout may not look as nice as Evernote. The tagging system is confusing, so I've just done away with them. And the images don't automatically resize according to your screen size, like how it would do in Evernote. However, these things are minor in my opinion, and I can live with it. The priority for me is speed, reliability, and offline mode, and Microsoft OneNote scores top marks in all three categories. So for the unforeseeable future, I'm sticking with OneNote. As long as it continues to perform the way it does, I'm happy with it. But tell me, am I wrong about Evernote? Am I being a little bit too harsh? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and also it'd be great to know what note-taking app you're currently using and how you'd rate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.